Welcome to Stamps Old World UK, where history comes to life through the beauty of postage stamps. Today's video is dedicated to exploring the fascinating and sometimes surprising world of stamp collecting, with a special focus on the current market value of stamps in US dollars. We'll take a deeper look into one of the most iconic stamp series in British history, the Machin series, featuring none other than Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. In particular, we'll highlight the elegant £1 and 35p stamp, a prime example of classic design and regal legacy. Whether you're a new collector or a long-time philatelist, this video will walk you through everything you need to know about today's stamp market value, with practical insights and real dollar valuations. The stamp market in 2025 is a dynamic and evolving space. While some collectors focus on the thrill of discovering forgotten treasures, others see stamps as tangible investments, comparable to rare coins or fine art. Stamps are more than just paper, they're miniature works of art, time capsules of culture, and historical documents that have traveled through hands and decades. The market reflects this richness. In the current climate, rare and high-quality stamps continue to rise in value, especially those featuring historic monarchs, wartime symbolism, or design errors. For British stamps, the Machin series continues to be a cornerstone of collections worldwide, not just for its longevity but also for its variety and collectability. Let's now talk about the star of today's discussion, the £1 and 35p Queen Elizabeth II stamp from the Machin Definitive Series. First issued in varying colors and denominations, this series showcases the iconic profile of Queen Elizabeth II sculpted by Arnold Machin, originally commissioned for the UK coinage. Over the decades, the image has become instantly recognizable, and its use on stamps has created one of the most collected philatelic series globally. The £1 and 35p denomination, particularly when printed in attractive color shades like deep violet or mauve, as seen in your uploaded image, holds its own significance. While this value may have been used for higher rate postage or international mail, today it serves as a collector's item, especially if it's unused, in mint condition, or part of a rare printing batch. Now you might wonder, what is the value of such a stamp in today's dollar market? The answer depends on several factors, including the condition of the stamp, whether it's used or mint, whether it features a rare printing error, and how it fits into a larger set or collection. A standard used version of the £1 and 35p Machin stamp may currently fetch around $1 to $3 depending on quality, but a mint condition version could go for $5 to $10 or more, especially if it's from a limited print run or has unique phosphor bands. Collectors also look for gum condition, centering, and any distinctive perforations or overprints. If the stamp comes from a special booklet or sheet, its value could further increase, sometimes reaching $20 to $50 in collector markets or auctions. In fact, there are instances where certain Machin stamps have skyrocketed in value because of printing errors, color variations, or unissued designs. For example, Machin stamps with omitted values, missing phosphor bands, or incorrect perforations have sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars at auction. Some of the rarest errors are from trial prints or limited issue sheets not meant for public circulation. If you suspect your £1 and 35p stamp has such an error, it could be worth significantly more than its face value. It's always wise to compare it with official catalogs like Stanley Gibbons or to consult with a professional philatelist. Looking beyond individual stamps, collectors also value full presentation packs, first-day covers, and commemorative issues that include the Machin design. In some cases, a complete set of mint Machin stamps from the 1990s or 2000s can sell for $100 or more. Some high-value Machin collectors even specialize in color variations alone, building collections worth thousands of dollars based on hue shifts under UV light. This is where the science of philately meets the art of history, making it one of the most intellectually rewarding hobbies today. So, what else is hot in today's stamp market? Besides the Machin series, other British stamps gaining traction in dollar value include Edward VII and George V issues, the 1840 penny black, the 1887 Jubilee set, and limited issues from colonies like Hong Kong, India, and the Falkland Islands. Postage-due stamps, error prints, and war-related stamps from the World War periods also command solid prices. On the global scene, demand is growing for German inflation-era stamps, early U.S. airmail stamps, and pre-revolution Russian issues. Prices for these can range from $10 to $500, depending on rarity and condition. If you're interested in selling or getting your stamps appraised, consider uploading them to reputable platforms like Stamp World, Hipstamp, eBay, or visiting a trusted dealer. And if you're collecting, always remember that condition is key. Store your stamps in acid-free albums, avoid touching them with bare hands, and keep them away from moisture and sunlight. Mint condition and properly stored stamps will always retain more value in the market. To wrap up, the £1.35 Queen Elizabeth II Machin stamp is not just a pretty piece of postal history, it is a gateway into the rich and diverse world of philately. Its value in today's market might range from just a few dollars to significantly more depending on its condition and uniqueness. But more importantly, it's a symbol of a monarch's enduring legacy and a series that has captivated collectors for more than half a century. As you continue your journey through the world of stamps, remember that every stamp has a story. Whether it was carried across continents, commemorated a royal occasion, or simply delivered a letter home, it's now a valuable artifact of human history. Keep collecting, keep learning, and stay tuned to Stamps Old World UK for more insights, discoveries, and deep dives into the world of stamp collecting. Next up, the iconic second-class blue Queen Elizabeth II Machin stamp. It may seem ordinary to the untrained eye, but to collectors, postal historians, and investors alike, this humble stamp has a story, a legacy, and in many cases, a real dollar value. Whether you've recently come across one in an old album or are wondering if your common stamps might be worth something, this video will explore everything you need to know about the blue second-class stamp in 2025, from its history to its features to what it's truly worth in today's collector market. The second-class blue Machin stamp is part of the legendary Machin Definitive series, introduced in 1967 and still recognized around the world. Designed by sculptor Arnold Machin, the profile of Queen Elizabeth II used in this stamp has become one of the most reproduced images in history. The second-class blue version was originally introduced as part of Royal Mail's standardized service to offer more affordable postage for domestic use. Because of its role in everyday mailing, billions were printed over the years. It became a familiar sight to every UK resident and was often overlooked because of how common it was. However, when it comes to collecting, the true value is hidden in the details. Print variations, conditions, source codes, security features, and errors can make all the difference between a stamp worth a few cents and one worth hundreds of dollars. In its basic form, the second-class Machin stamp is printed in a deep blue tone with the words "Second" in the lower left and Queen Elizabeth II's classic side portrait occupying the rest of the design. The stamps are self-adhesive, lack a printed denomination, and are classified as non-value indicator stamps. This means they are valid for second-class mail regardless of price increases, and this has helped preserve their use over time. However, collectors are not just interested in sending mail, they care about the fine print. From the early 1990s to the late 2010s, these stamps were printed in different formats including sheets, booklets, coils, and custom editions. Some have security overprints or codes visible only under magnification or UV light. Others were printed by different companies such as De La Rue, Walsall, and Carter, each creating subtle design and quality differences. For a dedicated collector, these differences can significantly impact a stamp's value. In 2025, a standard used second-class blue stamp generally sells for only a few cents on the dollar, often ranging from $0.05 to $30 depending on condition. These are the stamps that were torn from letters, lightly cancelled by postmarks, or handled without much care. However, if the stamp is in mint condition and used, with perfect perforations and original gum intact, it can be worth more, typically $10 to $50 in the collector's market. The real treasures, however, lie in the rare varieties. Certain stamps printed with source codes like M12L, BGC, or codes for special booklets have fetched prices of $100, $200, or more. Others that contain printing errors such as misaligned queen portraits, missing phosphor bands, or inverted iridescent overprints have sold for hundreds of dollars at auction. For example, in recent years, a second-class Machin with a missing security code sold for over $500 to a specialized collector. These rare pieces are few and far between, but they prove that even the most common-looking stamps can hold significant hidden value. It's important to understand how to identify a potentially valuable second-class blue stamp. Start by checking the stamp's condition. Any bends, creases, smudges, or torn edges will decrease its value considerably. Next, examine the stamp under a magnifying glass or UV lamp. Look for microtext codes, the presence or absence of phosphor bands, and any unusual printing characteristics. The type of adhesive, paper texture, and even how the Queen's profile is centered can all impact price. If you're unsure, compare your stamp with known varieties using catalogs like Stanley Gibbons or websites like Collect British Stamps or Stamp World. Also, Completed listings on eBay and Delcamp offer up-to-date market value in dollars based on real-world sales. The value of the second-class blue stamp has also been impacted by the passing of Queen Elizabeth II and the transition to King Charles III stamps. As collectors seek to preserve the era of one of the longest-reigning monarchs in history, demand for Machin stamps has seen a noticeable uptick. While many still collect for enjoyment, others now view stamps as a form of historical investment. Complete sheets of second-class stamps, commemorative editions, or album presentations featuring early printings from the 1990s or 2000s are being sold for up to $100 or more. Particularly popular are full mint-condition stamp booklets with serial numbers, as well as first-day covers featuring the second-class stamp from important national events. To conclude, the second-class blue Queen Elizabeth II stamp may be the most widely recognized stamp in British postal history, but it is far from worthless. In fact, its legacy, variations, and potential rarity make it one of the most fascinating areas of modern philately. As of 2025, most standard examples may only bring in a few cents, but the right version, in mint condition or with a printing error, can be worth tens or even hundreds of dollars to the right buyer. The key is in the details, so if you have a collection, take a closer look. You might just be holding a hidden gem in your hands. Stamp collecting is not only about value, it's about preserving the past, celebrating history, and sharing stories through ink, paper, and design. Next up, the first-class red Machin stamp featuring the elegant portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. It's a stamp that many people have seen thousands of times, whether stuck to holiday cards, business envelopes, or personal letters. But what many people don't realize is that behind this common appearance lies a world of printing variations, subtle design features, production secrets, and even potential treasure. This stamp may look ordinary, but it can be worth more than just its original postal rate. So if you've ever held onto one of these red stamps or wondered if your everyday post might be hiding value, then stay tuned, because you're about to discover how the first-class red Queen Elizabeth II stamp is making waves in the collector's market in 2025, both in British pounds and in US dollars. To begin, let's first understand what makes this stamp so significant. The red first-class stamp belongs to the long-running Machin series, first introduced in 1967 and named after the sculptor Arnold Machin, whose bas-relief of Queen Elizabeth II became the basis for the definitive stamp design. This simple yet powerful side-profile portrait of the Queen has graced billions of envelopes and parcels across the UK and internationally, becoming one of the most reprinted designs in the world. The first-class version, printed in bright or deep red, was introduced to mark priority domestic mail and continues to be issued even today, though newer stamps now feature King Charles III. Over the decades, it has seen numerous reprints, changes in printing technology, paper, adhesives, and security features. All of these make the Machin series, especially the first-class stamp, a playground for serious collectors and a symbol of modern philately. Now, while billions of first-class red stamps were printed, not all of them are created equal. The variations are surprisingly numerous. Early printings used different types of gravure and lithographic techniques. The introduction of self-adhesive stamps, the use of security over prints, hidden microcodes, and phosphor bands have all led to distinguishable versions. Some were printed by de la Rue, others by Walsall or Carter. Each printer produced slight differences in color tone, image sharpness, paper texture, and stamp dimensions. Add to that the over 30 years of regular postal rate changes and policy updates, and suddenly, this single design has produced dozens of collectible varieties. For the trained eye and informed collector, these nuances aren't just trivia, they can be the difference between a stamp worth pennies and one valued at over $100 or more. In the current 2025 collector's market, most used first-class red stamps sell for low values, generally between 5 cents and 50 cents depending on condition. These are the versions that were torn off envelopes and passed through standard sorting machinery. Postmarks, bends, creases, or smudges all diminish their worth. But the picture shifts significantly when we talk about mint-condition stamps. A clean, never-used first-class red stamp, perfectly centered, with its gum and perforations intact, can range from $1 to $10, and much more if it comes from a special booklet, a trial sheet, or a rare printing year. For example, a mint first-class stamp with a source code like M12L or MTIL, indicating a specific year and type of issue, might sell for $15 to $30 to the right collector. The most exciting aspect, though, lies in the rarer and more unusual examples. Some first-class red Machin stamps were printed with missing security overprints, misplaced queen portraits, inverted barcodes, or even double impression errors. One of the most famous examples, a first-class stamp printed without its iridescent overlay, was sold for more than $400 in a specialist online auction. These types of errors are rare, often the result of print misalignment or production issues during a high-speed run, and are usually caught early by quality control. But when they do slip through and make it into the hands of the public, they become extremely desirable among philatelists. A single error stamp can sometimes fund an entire collection. If you suspect your stamp is unusual or shows printing defects, you should always seek professional appraisal or certification. Even standard booklet and coil versions can become valuable, especially when sold in full, untouched condition. Some first-class stamps were sold in commemorative packs for royal anniversaries, Olympic Games, or special national events. These are often overlooked by casual collectors but are now gaining popularity, especially those with limited edition printing or unique presentation packaging. In today's market, a full booklet of first-class Machin stamps in mint condition from a significant print year can fetch between $20 and $100, with collector demand pushing prices even higher for unusual codes or packaging. Add in first-day covers and officially postmarked commemorative envelopes, and you could be holding items worth hundreds of dollars, especially if they've been well preserved and documented. What's also fueling this stamp's current market value is its historical and emotional weight. With the passing of Queen Elizabeth II in 2022, interest in Machin stamps skyrocketed, as collectors and royal enthusiasts rushed to secure mementos from the Queen's era. The first-class red stamp, being the most symbolic of British identity in the Queen's final decades, is now at the center of many thematic collections. Collectors are building complete sets of red Machin issues, tracking down every known security code, every yearly update, and even regional issues. As a result, the demand has gone up steadily year after year, and prices are climbing not just for errors and rarities but even for ordinary stamps in extraordinary condition. Let's also talk about how to evaluate your first-class stamp. First, use magnification to examine the microprint text, which usually reveals the year and booklet type. A code like M14L reveals a 2014 printing, while MCIL or MTIL show whether it came from a business sheet or booklet. Next, check for phosphor bands. Most modern stamps have 1 or 2 vertical bands that glow under UV light. If these are missing or misaligned, your stamp may be an error variety. Check the paper texture, color tone, and overall alignment of the Queen's profile. Lastly, look at the perforations and gum. Smooth, undamaged edges and original adhesive dramatically increase the value. Catalogs like Stanley Gibbons or Scott, along with online databases, are your best friends when it comes to comparing and verifying. In 2025, more collectors are entering the market not just from the UK, but from the United States, Canada, India, and Australia. The Machin series has global appeal, and as postal systems shift toward digital barcodes and prepaid QR codes, these traditional definitive stamps are slowly becoming a thing of the past. That only increases their desirability, especially for long-term investment. If you own a collection of first-class red stamps from the Queen Elizabeth II era, now may be a good time to evaluate them properly and consider organizing, preserving, or even selling high-value examples in the open market. To wrap up, the first-class red Queen Elizabeth II Machin stamp stands as a shining example of how something so common and familiar can hold deep historical, emotional, and monetary value. Whether you have one stamp or 100, there is something exciting about the potential that lies in each design. Some may be worth just a few cents, but others, through rarity, condition, or error, may be worth tens, hundreds, or even more. For collectors across the world, this isn't just a stamp, it's a royal artifact, a design marvel, and a timeless collectible all in one. It reflects not just the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, but a unique period in British and postal history. Thank you for watching Stamps Old World UK. We hope you've enjoyed this long-form deep dive into one of Britain's most collected and meaningful stamps. If you found this video helpful or inspiring, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay connected with us. Tell us in the comments if you have any rare first-class stamps or if you've ever found a printing error in your collection. We'll be back soon with more detailed guides, value updates, and stamp stories from the past and present. Until next time, keep collecting, stay curious, and never underestimate the value of even the smallest piece of paper.